Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. If you haven't had that mall security guard that takes his job too damn seriously, smash that subscribe button. Go and have him smash it right now. First and foremost, let me give a shout out to the following patrons: Shower Shark, Fuck Your Chest Paints, Priya These Nuts, Lockdown 5, Crystal Bon, La Reina, Hernan, Don't Trip, Winston, Armando, Alejandro, Trailero 760, Grant, El Skid, Nathan, Hobie Cat, Lead With Love, Albert 12, AI Vega, Esquiel, Big Bad 48, JT, Nova, Jack, Linda, the retired CO, Michigan Wolverines, Mikey, the homie Marius, Chevelle 66, Gigi, Abuelita's Journey, and Daus Herrero. If you have not already signed up for that Patreon, make sure you hit that link in the description below. You are definitely missing out. This episode right here, guys, on a serious note, I got to ask myself, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Why do I do what I do? What drives me? What made me? What molded me? What values do I hold? You guys know that I served in the Army in the Iraq War, OIF 2, from the year 2004 to the year 2005. I was 19 years old, man. 19. Yeah, I felt older then. We had a lot of responsibility then, but you're still a kid, man. You're definitely still a kid. Just look at your average 19-year-old right now. My purpose is to help those that are still struggling. My purpose is to shine the light and give hope to those that are hopeless. Reason being, I was once there. And it was bad, man. It was bad. I haven't said it on this channel, but I often say that my year back from Iraq was worse than my year in Iraq. And my year in Iraq was hell. That's because I was lost, man. I was alone. I was suffering. Alcoholism, PTSD, demons, ghosts. Something that weighed heavily on me and would change my life forever would be the loss of my brothers in arms. I have a total of 9 of my friends' last names tattooed on my back. 8 that were killed in action, and 9, my buddy King, that was wounded in action, came home and then eventually would commit suicide a few years ago. I had what's known as survivor's guilt. I probably still do have survivor's guilt. I had to learn what the hell that was. I didn't even know that was a thing until I took those classes at the VA. Also, something I meant to share with you guys during the September 10th anniversary of my brother Daclon getting killed, and which happens to fall on my mom's birthday. I meant to go a little bit more in depth, but I got choked up and I couldn't really get the words out. But I went to go in depth of, you guys know what post-traumatic stress disorder is, right? That's another one of my purposes, is to bring awareness. And you guys know you didn't have to go to war or be a military veteran to have PTSD, which that's great. That's a start, right? We can start the healing process. It goes a step further, and I want you guys to research this. Research moral injuries. Well, what the hell is a moral injury, Hector? A moral injury is worse than PTSD. It cuts into your morals, right? And that cuts deep, which I also suffered, right? My friend got killed. I had told myself, I had always believed good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. Instantly shattered, right? That's how it was bad. It was extremely bad. This story is going to be right here about Sergeant First Class Joselito Villanueva, who I also have tattooed on my back. He was killed in action on September 27, 2004. 17 days after my buddy Doc was killed in Balad, same area of operations. Let me tell you where the moral injury starts. Prior to deploying to Iraq, our platoon 2nd Platoon, Charlie Company, 118 Infantry, got disbanded, got detached from our company, from our infantry company, and got attached to tankers. You know, the ones that drive the big-ass tanks. So here's a platoon of 32, 33 men, brothers, all my brothers. We got pulled and attached to the tankers in the city of Balad. They went up to Tikrit, Saddam's hometown. Well, what the army had done, the big army had done, was they got 1 platoon of combat engineers. Those combat engineers are the ones that you see, like on Saving Private Ryan, when they throw those, forgot what they're, Bangladors, whatever, and they blow up. They're good with the C4. They're good with explosives. Combat engineers, right? All things blow it up. Mines, bombs. We got 1 platoon from 9E attached to that company. What were we? Bravo Company 177 Armor. Dragoons. What a horrible name they gave us. Dragoons? We went from like, I don't know, man. Anyhow. That was a platoon of like 31, 32 guys. They were red platoon. We were white platoon. Then you had 1 platoon of National Guard from New York. Wow. And then that 1 platoon of tankers. So now you know what it built up to look like. Okay. Early on in the deployment, so the person in charge of the 9E, the 9th Engineer, was Sergeant First Class Joselito Villanueva from California, from LA, E7. He was a combat engineer. Early on in the deployment, him and his driver were driving on MSR Tampa. Their Humvee took a direct hit from an IED, a roadside bomb. Shrapnel came up. We didn't have up-armored Humvees. Or we did, but we didn't. But so there was a couple. A piece of shrapnel went into the driver, I think below the body armor back here. Killed him, and he was a specialist. And a piece of shrapnel hit Joselito Villanueva. I'll refer to him as Villanueva, in the back of the neck. A little piece of shrapnel. So Villanueva was wounded. Tick was killed. That's when it put things in perspective. Like, fuck, we can die here, right? Somebody just did. He was Filipino, man. He was older. Every Filipino I met is nice, warm, like caring. Man, this dude was like a father figure because he was older, right? We were all 19-year-old kids. This dude was older. I can't put his age. I could probably it's probably going to shock me when I see this shit. 36. No way. No fucking way, man. And this is the shit that I'm fucking talking about, man. No. I'm 39 years old, guys. I'm 39. He was 36, man. Oh, I'm getting fucking chills. Like, I didn't even plan on looking at his age. I really thought he was older. The way he carried himself, I'm telling you, man. I was amongst fucking men, warriors. I was amongst the best motherfuckers in the world. 36 years old, I looked up to this guy. He had no business really talking to me. Like, I was on a different platoon, younger, less in rank, but he was so caring that he embraced me. As a matter of fact, when Daklan got killed on September 10th and I was standing in the middle of the field in shock as a medevac was landing, Villanueva grabbed me by the shoulder and brought me down. Said, take a knee. You got this. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing good. He must have seen something in me. I don't know. For him to tell me that. When you're a soldier in Iraq, for a 13, 18, 15-month deployment, you get to go to R&R, rest and relaxation or something like that. You get to go home halfway through your deployment, halfway give or take, for 15 days. Go home, and then you come back. That shit sucks. Now, this is where it gets fucking bad, man. It was my time to go to R&R. And guess who I went with? I went with Villanueva, which was cool. It was awesome. Man, I'm looking up to this dude. Like, I already know this dude got wounded. And he was a Gulf War veteran from the first war. So I'm like looking up to this dude, man, like a legend. He already had his driver get killed. Like, his driver got killed. Like, I know this man has been through some shit. We go to Camp Anaconda. We start like bunking, like bunkies, like 2 cots right next to each other. I'm telling you, man, we were hitting it off. Look at that. He was 36, I was 19. What a trip. But I've always kind of carried myself older. Talking it up, good time, talking it up. We go to Kuwait. I remember in Kuwait, I bought because we had CDs back then, 2004. I bought a Bone Thugs and Harmony CD. Can't remember which one it was. Probably Art of War or something like that. There was another CD, or it was a Cypress Hill. I bought a Cypress Hill CD. It was not Bone Thugs and Harmony. It was Cypress Hill. So there I am listening to my Cypress Hill CD. It's time to wash some clothes. We got some dirty clothes. He's like, hey, well, let's wash the clothes together. Yeah, well, this is great, man. Like, I got a friend. Like, I got an older father figure. Like, a buddy. This is cool. We're washing clothes together, man. Talk about camaraderie, brotherhood. We put the tide in, right? We go, hey, let's go sit down over here. Let's go eat over here, right? When you break bread with somebody, man, now you're getting on a whole nother level. Like, this whole moral injury, I'm telling you, man. So, we land at the airport in Dallas, Texas. I had never even been to Texas. We land at the airport. He goes to LA. I go to San Diego. What we tell each other is, they like, all right, man, like, have a good one, have fun, and we'll see each other in a few days. Cool. That's exactly what happens. We go to R&R. I get completely drunk, oblivious, start crying, making a scene about how fucked up Iraq was, because it was. And it's like, my dad didn't even want me to go back. He's like, hey, you want to go to Mexico? I'm like, come on, Dad. Like, I got to go back. Like, my brothers were over there. Like, there's no way in hell. There was no way in hell I was not going to go back, right? As much as it sucked. So fast forward to the day we get back to the airport in Texas. And this, man, fuck. We're at the bar. And mind you, the rules back then were you fly in your camouflage uniform, your DCUs, your desert camouflage uniform. You know, the old school ones. So there we are, sitting there at a bar in the airport. I'm 19 years old. He's 36. I just looked it up. A white dude from Texas comes up to you and says, hey, man, thank you guys for your service. Can I buy you guys a beer? I looked at the sergeant. He's like, yeah. Well, my eyes lit up like, holy shit. Like, number one, we're in uniform. Number two, he outranks me big time. He's the E7. Number three, I'm 19 years old. I ain't even supposed to be drinking, right? The dude buys us both a drink, a beer. We share a beer. We drink beer right there. And then he hits me with it. He tells me, I don't want to go back. And it caught me off guard. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to go back? We have to go back. It caught me off guard that he would say that an E7 would say that. It caught me off guard. And he carried that piece of shrapnel, the piece of shrapnel that pierced his neck. And he showed me a little piece of metal, scrap metal, shrapnel. And I said, we got to go back, Sarge. We got to go back. He's like, yeah, I know. Kind of shook it off. So we get back to Balad. We go to Anaconda. We convoy back to FOB Palawata. Forward Operating Base Palawata. Doc dies on September 10th. This day is September 27th. We were QRF again, my platoon, Quick Reaction Force. When something bad happens out in sector, they send the Quick Reaction Force to go help. Red platoon was out on patrol. So the patrols we used to do back then, give or take, were one of the many things we used to do were just go out in the fucking fields, post up, hang out, and try to wait for the bad guys to move around, come around, or do something. That's what Red Platoon was doing. They were out in a field right off of one of our main roads. And then we just hear it over the radio. People get frantic. Hey, Red Platoon's in contact. Red Platoon's in contact. They're being ambushed. Red Platoon's in contact. I grab my fucking helmet. I grab my vest. And I'm like, let's go. And I always had that sense of urgency in me. And I don't know if I still do because I'm just tired, right? And older now. But it's like, let's go. Let's go. Let's fucking go. You could hear the chaos on the radio. Send QRF. Send QRF. And it wasn't that far from our fob. This wasn't happening that far. It was probably like another 3 miles, right? We wouldn't patrol like 10, 15, 25 miles away from our fob. It would be within 7 to 10 miles inwards. So we load up. Again, I'm driving a Humvee. As we pull up into the street, the road, it was fields, right? Where I was at was agricultural. Date trees, watermelon fields, grapevines, all kinds of stuff like that. I see the edge of the field. I see soldiers walking out. I see them pick up a body and put a body into a body bag. And I'm like, oh no, fuck. Please let that be ING. Please let that be ING, Iraqi National Guard. Because the Iraqi National Guard would tag along with us on patrols, and supposedly we're supposed to teach them how to defend their country. They were horrible at it. So I was just hoping that it wasn't an American soldier and that it was one of them. Is that wrong? I don't know. That's what I said. Please let that be ING. And then it just gets silent, quiet. And I seen it. I'm looking at that body bag. I can still see it now. Body bags are distinctive, right? They're like black vinyl up against like hay-colored field. And it wasn't that far, probably 50 yards, 75 yards, 100 yards, less than that. And then you hear it over the radio. Be advised, Red 7's KIA. And I remember like putting my fucking head down because it hit, right? It hit like, the fuck? No, fuck, man. How? Like, and then everything just starts fucking flooding me, right? He didn't want to come back. He didn't want to come back to this fucking deployment. He had already got wounded. We just fucking hung out with each other forever, like on the way to R&R. Like I befriended this guy. He befriended me. We lost 2 dudes in our company that month. And that was a hard blow for me, man. They all were. And then we would eventually, so September 10th, Doc got killed. September 27th, Joselito Villanueva got killed. October 1st, we went on an offensive. We went on an offensive and raided the town of Samara. Needless to say, we went in there upset. Right? We went in there upset. We unleashed hell. I remember all the engineers because I was their platoon sergeant. So think about it. They had already lost 2. They had already lost Specialist Tick and their platoon sergeant. I remember in Samara, all the houses were on fire. And all the engineers were lighting all the houses on fire. And that's what they were doing. And that's what it was. Every house that they cleared, you just see the fucking black smoke. And I never said nothing. They never said nothing, but we knew what was happening. Like, they were, getting their vengeance. And that's fine. To me, that's fine. To me, that's war. Man, they burned down a lot of fucking houses. But the message for today, man, is my purpose. I believe everything lined up, and I'm right on track. I've been reflecting back. I've been bashing the department and this and that. To tell you guys the truth, that's not really my get down, right? I'm not really that type of like gossiper like that. So like, wasn't my goal to come out and clown the department or just expose. Yeah, I did what I did. Boom, I shine the fucking light on them. Look, guys, I want you guys to see what's happening here. But I also owe it to them. And I told myself back then, to the ones that didn't make it back, I have to keep their honor alive. I have to keep their name alive. And people have told me like, let it go, Hector. Let it go. Like, let them rest, or like get past it. Not being rude, but like saying like, but they don't understand that what is inside of me. Yeah, I want the world to know about these men. I wish everybody carried themselves like that, but it's not the case. People do some wild shit out here. People do, and I'm not even gonna go into that. But this episode right here, man, is dedicated to Sergeant First Class Joselito Villanueva from California. I love you, brother, and I think about you every single day, with the rest of them. Keep pushing forward.